In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to unbrick your Linksys Wrt1200 AC router. This method should work on the 1900 AC also. So first thing you need to do, by the way, if you're doing this, if you brick the router, and that means you've uploaded the incorrect firmware, or you've incorrectly uploaded the firmware to the router, and your router no longer works. This is the solution to get your router back running again. So you're gonna need to buy this cable. It's a USB to TTL to URAT COM cable. There's the name, Nice Shop PL2303HX. That's the make and model. It's $5.58 on Amazon. Very cheap, inexpensive, simple. But you're going to need this. There are different types of USB to serial cables that you can buy out there. If you're familiar with them, you know how to use them, you can try them, but this one here I know works for sure. So you'll need to buy that. So the first thing you need to do is take apart your Linksys router. It's very simple. On the bottom of the router, you have your 4 feet, and there's 4 screws. You just unscrew them, and this piece right here will slide right off the front, just like so. And so what you need to do is hook up your USB cable that you just purchased, USB to serial cable. Hook it up to your computer, and you will hook it up to the serial port on your router. The cable has 4 wires, and the serial port has 6 pins. They're numbered 1 through 6 from left to right, and you'll hook the black wire, which is your ground wire, you'll hook that to pin number 1. The white wire is your receive, your RX line, the number 2, and your green wire, your transmit, and also I believe it's also 3 volts. I tested it with a multimeter. It comes in at 3.3 volts. That's the one you hook up to pin number 4. The red wire that comes with it, you can see it better there in the picture. That's a 5-volt wire. Do not use that because that may cause permanent damage to the router, too much voltage. So again, black wire on pin 1, white wire on pin 2, and green wire on pin 4. Alright, so that'd be the first thing you do there. And then you also need to hook up a LAN cable to the back of your computer, and you will connect it to port number 1 on your router. Don't plug it into the internet port. You'll need to hook it up to port number 1. Once you've done all that, you are ready to go. If you have any trouble with these pins, just make sure that you're able to connect them and they have a good connection, and you should be good to go. So now, first thing you need to do, if you want to upload the OpenWrt firmware, you need to go to their website and download the appropriate firmware that works with your particular make and model of Linksys WRT router. I have the version 1 of the 1200 AC, and the one that they have is called the Cayman package. When you download it, rename it to Cayman first thing you want to do, download the OpenWrt firmware image and rename it to Cayman. Second thing you want to do is create a folder on your hard drive somewhere and name it whatever you want. I named mine TFTP. So you'll do that. Once you do that, you'll need to download two programs. The first one is called Putty. The second one is called TFTPD32. Just Google that and download those. They're free. And so the first thing you do on TFTPD is you'll go to well, actually, let me take that back. First thing you want to do is go to your control panel, and you'll have, and you go to your network adapters. You'll have however many you have. I have two. I have my integrated network card that's on my motherboard, and then I have my actual network card that's in my PCI slot. And obviously, needless to say, you're going to use the one that you have your LAN cable plugged into. So you'll go right click on it, go to properties, click on Internet Protocol version 4, properties, and you'll check the radio button that says use the following IP address. And that's what you'll type in, 192.168.1.2 in the IP address field, and then in the subnet mask field you'll type in 255.255.255.0. And once you do that, just hit OK. You don't need to change anything else. And just minimize that window. Don't close it because you'll need it later. So you go back to here. You're going to hit Browse in the top right corner here. And you will navigate to the folder you just created where your firmware image file is located. Mine being TFTP. You click on it. Hit OK. Second thing, where it says server interfaces, you'll go to your network card that your LAN cable is hooked up to, 192.168.1.2, and you'll select it. So now this is set up. And the reason why we're choosing these particular network addresses is the Linksys routers by default use the IP range of 192.168.1.1 through 254. That's the range. So by default, that's what we're using. So in Putty, now we're in Putty. You go up top and click on Session. And I have mine already saved, my configuration. I'll just load it so you can see it. So there's three things that you need to have set that are very important. There's only three things. The first one, you're going to click the radio button that says serial. And the second one, you'll type in COM, whatever number COM port you have or that it recognizes, and then your speed. This is the speed in which it communicates with the router. That being 115200. Now, to determine which COM port it is that you have and what you're using, mine's COM5. To figure out which one it is, because it could be COM1 or COM3 or 7. The way you figure that out is you go to your computer management or your device manager. Click on device manager and you go to ports. This is COM and LPT. You'll see your USB cable to the serial, and right there it says COM5 in parentheses. So that right there will tell you which COM port that it's running on. Just minimize that and just type in whatever it says, mine being COM5. Now you can just go down here and hit open. And you will see a blank command window open up. So now we're ready to go. I have everything opened up. You're going to turn on your router now. Now when you do so, you're going to need to hit the space bar You have 3-second time period in order to do this, or the router will attempt to boot again. So to keep the router from trying to boot, you're going to hit the space bar and it will cancel the auto boot. So now you can go ahead and turn on your router. And right here, you hit space. And you'll see it, it says hit any key to stop auto boot. Just hit space and then you'll be at the Marvel command prompt. So now you should see your power light all the way to the left. It should be blinking just like so. No other light except for the power light and the LAN port that you have your cable plugged into. There should be no other lights on, usually. So now you're going to type in, there's a few commands to get this working. So first one that you'll type in is set env space firmware underscore name, and you'll hit space, and now you're going to type in Cayman. That's the name that we named our firmware image, Cayman. So you type in CAIMAN.img. Don't forget to put the image file extension there, .img. You'll hit enter. And next one, set env IP address .192.168.1.1. Enter. Set env netmask 255.255.255.0. Enter. Set env space server IP 192.168.1.2. Enter. And then finally you'll type in the command to flash the image. It'll be run update underscore both underscore images. Okay, so before you hit enter on this last command, you need to go to your TFTP window and make sure that your network card is selected. And when you hit enter, you will see the file transfer in progress from your FTP server to your router, and you also see the Putty window flashing the firmware to your router. So here we go, hit enter. Transfer the file is now flashing. And it says bytes written okay. We're back at the command prompt. So that indicates successful flash. A few things to note here. If you have problems with this Putty window, for example, crazy letters and symbols pop up when you first turn on the router, that means you'll have your cables are not hooked up right. Or if you type in text, Fox, let's say you type in Fox you type in those commands and they don't appear normal, or they have weird symbols, or if you type in a letter, it types in 2 letters, that means your ground wire, your black wire, has a loose connection, bad connection. So like I said, it's very important to make sure that these connections are good before you start this, or it won't work. So now that we have flashed the router, we can close both these windows and just hit OK. You can close the TFTP window. And so before you do anything else at this point, you're going to go ahead and turn the router back off. And now you unplug your cables. Make sure it's off before you touch or do anything inside the router. Okay. Once you do that, you can turn it back on. And you'll have to wait a few minutes. Probably about 30 to 45 seconds, it'll boot up. While it's doing that, you need to go to your network connections again. You need to right click it, go to properties, IPv4 properties. You need to change this back to obtain IP address automatically. Don't forget to do this or it won't connect to your router. Hit OK and hit close. So now we can go ahead and test it out, see if it worked. And there we are, success. We're back online. Successfully flashed the firmware back onto the router and we can use it again. Here we are, OpenWrt, Linksys Wrt1200 AC. Uptime 1 minute 34 seconds. Yep. And that's it. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them. And also, one more thing before I forget, if you have any troubles in the Putty window connecting, if it fails when you open the window and it fails, usually that means it's not establishing a connection to the FTP server. So you need to go into Windows Firewall and you need to add an exception to port 69, which is your FTP server's port that it runs on. Just add that exception, either that or disable Windows Firewall. Just make sure you don't have anything interfering there. Other than that, that's it. Thanks for watching.